Today, and as I mentioned in the previous video, my yard, I live in a place called White Rock Lake, part of Dallas, and under everything is this white bedrock that's kind of chalky, and it's everywhere. So it comes up through the ground as the weather changes and rain and however else it comes up to the surface. But one day you may not have rocks in your yard, and then another day you've got rocks in your yard, and there's just rocks and tree roots and tree knots and just everything garbage in this yard that I have to deal with. And it's just very easy to ding up your blades. And so this mower is only like 2 weeks old, and it's ridiculous that I have to come in and take the blades off and take some of these huge nicks out. Up here is the worst part of it. And it really took some abuse right there, and all right here, some deflections. And I just like a sharp blade. And plus, I'm going to balance the blade too. I think maybe, I don't know, I did such a good job on my Toro that maybe I can make this mower a little smoother running. But here we go. This is the first time I've ever worked on a twin blade mower. And so I don't know. We'll see how easy it is. All right, it says to loosen. I'm going to turn the bolt this way. So I looked in the manual. I'm going to try to use this right here. Keep the blade from spinning. All right. All right, we're going that direction to loosen, and righty-tighty to tighten, lefty-loosey. All my other mowers are the opposite. Maybe I'm not thinking clearly today, I don't know. But just remember that. Take those off. And here's your twin blades. Just two blades, one stacked on top of the other, and turn just a little bit, 15 degrees another direction. But as I mentioned, there's the bolt heads right there on the other side. Just gonna take these off so we can separate the two blades. Make note which one goes on top and which one goes on bottom. May take a picture of that with my phone just to help me with my orientation. And for balancing purposes, you want to make sure you got all the extra grass off. I don't know where my brushes are at the moment, so I'm just going to use a piece of wood. I have this little wind sander here that works pretty good for I don't have a pad for this right here because my pads aren't sticking to this very well that I bought. They come off, but I can use this top one. Also have this grinder right here that a lot of people like to use to sharpen lawnmower blades, a Makita. But I'm going to use this one because it's flat and I can just run this across real quick on there. Use your safety glasses though so you don't get any metal in your eye. That's the damage right there. don't expect my blades to cut paper like a knife edge, but that cuts. That cuts. All right. So the next thing to do, let me see, I got a little bit more of a chip to work on right there. Hang on. But we're going to move over here to how I balance my blades. I don't have an expensive specialty blade balancer. So I'm going to show you how I was shown to do it, and it works out fairly well. All right, for this portion, you need a flat, clean table. This is pretty flat. It's not perfect. I'm sure you could get it more precision, but you're going to use, I use a socket extension that's pretty flat from the factory. You would hang this portion off the table because it gets wider right there, but this is pretty flat from right here to right here. Put it on the flat table. You can kind of eyeball where the center of your blade is, and by putting it on that flat surface and centering it, or you can hold that to make it less complicated, put it in the center and see which side it goes down to. It's not far off. I think it just needs to have a little bit taken off this side right here on the grinder. See, I ground a little bit off right there, not much. You just wanted one end to not drop drastically faster than the other side, like a teeter-totter. The tip of my blade right there got kind of damaged a little bit more than what I wanted, so I took a little bit more off. So now it's going to be out of balance, most likely. It's going to be heavy on maybe this side right here, on this side. Can you see, on this side? Golly, video complicates things. See here, I've got it almost, I got it about as centered on the center fulcrum. A little more off on this side right here. And you see that? Don't put that on your sander or your grinder wheel. That'll probably rip your belt up. So I'm going to use a regular file on that first, get that trimmed down, and then run it on my belt sander. My hand file to file that, so I'm just going to use my Makita real quick to remove some of that. Man, that rock took a pretty good chunk out of my blade. Amount. It's not perfectly straight. Makes it a little bit more difficult. Or you could come over here . A little trick that I saw is you can use a piece of wood, and if it has any burrs on it, run that through the wood, and that should help remove some of the burrs. The wood will collect the burrs. You don't want to run your finger and do that, it'll cut your finger up. I mean, if you get them too sharp, they're going to dull faster. You don't want to put too extreme of an angle on there and make them like cutting fruit or vegetables. You kind of want to have it, you know, maybe around a 45-degree angle, but that's maybe not as sharp as the other side. But so let me work on a little bit more. That's a pretty good edge. It feels pretty good. Like I said, you don't want to get them too sharp. They're just going to dull pretty quickly. See here? Still maybe just a little heavy on that side. That's about right. All right, so they're ready to go back together. All right, manual says torque this bolt back down to between 35 and 38 foot-pounds. So I got a torque wrench right here, and I'm gonna set it for that amount right there, and we're gonna tighten it up. All right, I heard it click, we're good. Now to start the mower and see how smooth it runs. Let's raise this up. Put the plug cap back on. Yep, there we go. Let's start it up. I'm a little bit nervous. See how smooth it is. Here we go. All right, that seemed to have worked. Yeah, it seems pretty good. And it's not super precision what I did. I'd probably get it even a little better if I had a $250 blade balancer or however much those cost. And but I'm pretty happy with it. And now it's really sharp. But I just have to avoid the rocks and the tree roots in the yard because they're all over the place. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Sorry it took so long. Just takes a long time to do. Trial and error. All right, bye-bye.